Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Wilds War Cry. I am your host, Stephen Wilds. Back with me today is the one, the only, the man who didn't know what a saying was until last night, probably, Ulysses.
Hey, how's it going? And I do.
You knew what a saying was beforehand? Okay. All right. I'll take it back. But joining us today, Ulysses, is the master of the retro platformer, that wily Wisconsinite, Kovic.
Hello, everybody.
Not to be confused with Adam Kovic. That's much cooler. Yes. We couldn't get him. I don't know. He wouldn't return my calls. I'm sorry.
His name gets brought up so much to me.
Right. All right. So we're gonna take a second because there's been a lot of shit floating around, right? But that's to be expected because it's the biggest wrestling show of the year. NXT TakeOver Dallas. Or wait.
Yeah,
that was on Friday. But we're going to talk about that first. We're going to talk about the entire weekend. We're going to discuss what we liked, what we didn't like, give a few opinions on the side, because going into this year's WrestleMania, every year it seems like we start on the road to WrestleMania and there's a lot of complaints and people who, don't like what the card's becoming. And for the past 2 years, I can honestly say that they both ended up being decent WrestleManias. And I want to know if we can continue that trend for this year. We'll find out. We'll find out. Now, as you may be able to tell, I'm a little bit under the weather, so I'm going to require Ulysses and Kovic to talk a little bit more this time, but I apologize for the audio with my sinus infection ass. But let's first...
You know what? Stop ruining my podcast.
Oh, yeah. You know what? All right, fine. Since you spoke up, you get to speak first. I want to know one good thing and one bad thing about TakeOver Dallas. Go.
One great thing, easily, the tag team match. Jason Jordan and Gable are amazing. Yes, I know. I said Jason and Jordan.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. What did you think of their performance against the former now tag champs, Dash and Dawson?
Dash and Dawson are really good, and I apologize to you because I remember one time I got mad that they came out as the mechanics, and I believe you told me, just wait, they're great, give them a shot. So I apologize to you. I'm giving you 1 point a year now.
You aren't done apologizing to me, by the way. We have a match later to discuss if anyone listened to the previous podcast.
Redacted. It's all redacted.
But let me ask you real quick. Are you upset? Do you think their name should be American Alpha or American Alphas?
I think they should be Jason Jordan and Gable.
You don't like the American Alpha name at all?
I don't like it at all.
Kovic, what do you think of the name?
I agree. I think the name is stupid. I think that's just... It doesn't play well for what that team shows. Like, it doesn't make sense.
I like the name. They're alpha dogs. They're the fucking
okay.
Let's
call them the Alpha Dogs. How about that?
All right, that might have been better.
No. How about when we bring Kurt Angle, we dub them the new world's greatest tag team? How about that?
That's true. That's true. God, I miss Benjamin and Charlie Haas. Those guys were great. All right, so I agree. That was a really good match. Tell me one thing you didn't like about NXT TakeOver.
Okay, one thing I didn't like, other than seeing Bayley get choked out, it's not more that I don't like. It's more of something that people aren't really considering, and it's more like a word of warning to all you people. And that's regarding Shinsuke Nakamura, because he was great. Like, he easily should have been my point for one good thing. The only thing I'm warning people is he had a great match with Sami Zayn.
Yes.
Sami Zayn can have a great match with anybody. Wait until they have Nakamura fighting all these pointless people, and then the buzz kind of gets off of them. Granted, for the big matches, they're going to give them the good opponents, but all I'm saying is take a grain of salt with this. That's all I'm saying.
No. You have an amazing point, and
yes.
Kovic and I actually discussed this a little bit because I remember us talking about how he's going up against someone who's used to that indie style, who's familiar with Japanese strong style. And I think as soon as they put him up against some of these people who have only wrestled in WWE and don't know and aren't as familiar with it, because he's stiff. That man is stiff as hell.
Yeah, imagine if they would have switched it up and had him fight a Baron Corbin. No way that match would have gone as good.
Yeah. No, I agree. You're 100% right. Kovic, I know you missed the last match, but can you tell me one good thing and one bad thing about this pay-per-view?
Well, I didn't really see anything bad. I mean, I would have preferred that the Bayley match ended differently. But I guess that was kind of the way it was supposed to end because Bayley's obviously moving on up, I guess.
Kovic, if you aren't aware, Ulysses here is not only a Bayley fan, so not only did he have to watch her get choked out, he is also a Sami Zayn fan, and he had to watch him lose.
Yeah, but the Sami Zayn thing, we all kind of knew that was coming because of he's been in WWE the last few weeks. The Nakamura thing, though, I made a comment when we were watching that about how red both of their bodies were getting because there was no punches being pulled. They were beating each
King
other.
King of Strong style, man.
And it was highly entertaining. Definitely my favorite match from that pay-per-view for me.
Right. I want to say that I think you're right. And so you don't have anything negative that you saw or anything else you want to comment on, Kovic?
Other than the stupid American Alpha name we already talked about?
All right. So I think a lot of what you guys mentioned, amazingly good. That first match just set the pace and it was really good. I like Asuka, and I knew that she was going to do well, so I'm really interested to see where they go with her character. I think the one thing that really stood out to me and that I didn't like, I gotta say, Austin Aries is a really good wrestler. But what was that match with Baron Corbin?
Yeah, that...
I was like shocked because Austin Aries comes off as like a little kid that went through like a taffy puller because his body looks really weird. Like it looks really, really weird.
But you've seen him in TNA before. You knew that.
I don't know. He looks a lot like bigger. Like I don't want to accuse the man of anything, but he looks bigger than he did. I don't know if that's how the cameras work. I don't know.
Yeah.
Corbin's a big guy though.
Right. Maybe it was because he was looking against Corbin. See, this is my thing. Okay. So we all know one of our friends is a huge Baron Corbin mark, and I don't get it. And I don't get it because I don't like Baron Corbin.
Neither do I.
And I'll admit, that match was some of Baron Corbin's better work. But it's still just, the match was, it wasn't bad. It just, I was expecting more. And we're gonna get into some things here in a minute about what we expected. Expecting more from certain matches. But, alright. Real quick, the final match. Kovic, I know you didn't see it. It was a good match between Samoa Joe and Finn Balor. I think the biggest problem was it felt like they didn't know what they were doing with the ending, and also there was the eye problem. For those of you who didn't see it, Samoa Joe's eye got cut open. Early on in the match, their heads collided. And so they kept having to kind of stall and make time for the refs and the medical team to try to get all the blood out, which he was bleeding. He was bleeding.
Yeah, WWE's mishandling all that. Like, I get that they don't want to have the blood, and I get wrestler safety and all that jazz. But is it me, or is it like watching Samoa Joe, the ruthless Samoan like animal that he is? It kills all sense of his character or heat or however you want to say it. It kills everything when you have this little like 5'6" ref dabbing his eye with a towel.
Yeah.
It kills it. It kills it completely.
Also, one thing TNA used to do, and I'm assuming they did this on purpose a lot, if someone was getting like doctored up by the ref, they would like give him a second, and then while the person was still getting doctored up, they'd go hit him.
Yeah.
So it made it seem more realistic. It's like, hey, this guy isn't paying attention right now. He's got his eye closed, getting it dabbed by this ref. I'm gonna go smack him. And I know Balor's he's not the heel, so he probably wouldn't do that. I don't know. I thought something like that would be really cool.
Can I just say, Finn Balor's title reign has now become the most boring thing in all of NXT, surpassing Baron Corbin. It's become the most boring thing.
Really? I mean, Neville's reign wasn't that much more exciting.
Yeah, but didn't he? I feel like, granted, it's because like that's when the network came out, so they try to push him more often.
Right.
But I felt he defended it more, and he defended it against a vast variety of opponents more. So that's why I feel his is more entertaining.
Neville definitely did defend it against different opponents, a better variety of opponents.
Yeah, see, and I don't know, Balor, I still like Balor, but his title reign is the most boring thing.
Okay. Well, we'll see where that goes. I'm interested to see, because a lot of us have been discussing, like, once his feud is over with Joe, like, what do you do with Joe? It almost just seems like, well, once his feud's over with Joe, send Joe up to the main roster,
I'd rather he fight Nakamura.
That would be interesting.
Yeah,
that would be a good fight.
Those two together that sounds pretty good.
First one to get their head kicked off loses.
All right, so Friday really amped me up for WrestleMania. Friday, we've got Friday, just amazing show with a few small speed bumps, in my opinion. Then Saturday, this is one of the first years I've actually missed the Hall of Fame. I usually watch at least the majority of it, but Sunday, the big day, the big show. We had this year 3, count them, 1, 2, 3 before the show matches. All right, I missed them. I'm going to be honest. Once again, I was actually at work, so I couldn't watch the pre-show matches. But Ulysses, I'm going to guess you had nothing to do when we were really bored.
Yes, I was very, very bored. Very, very much bored watching the whole damn thing. Oh man.
Oh god.
Oh,
all right,
man.
all right. Let's go through them real quick. So we have Ryback versus Kalisto for the U.S. belt. We have the 5-on-5 Divas match, which would be the Total Divas versus Team Bad and Blonde. Okay, I'll give them that name. Fine. And then we had the Usos versus the Dudleys. Now, I did go back and I watched the Divas match and Usos versus the Dudleys. At least, I watched the highlights from those matches. However, I missed completely Ryback versus Kalisto, and I didn't really care. Anything you want to say about that match?
The Ryback is just a gigantic living muscle that can somehow breathe. And I just feel so bad for Kalisto because he deserves more. And the last thing I'll say is throw that belt in the sewer because it's worthless.
You say that, you pick at least one belt to say that about like every month, though.
I'm picking 2 this week, actually.
Okay, all right. All right. Let's talk about the Divas match. How did Lana do? From what I saw, she at least knows how to do a roll-up, and I'm impressed. Not really, but I didn't get to see much of her. What did you think?
I don't know. I didn't like her look. She looked like Silver Banshee, kind of, but with purple.
Yeah, I was kind of agreeing with that. I thought they would do more with her wrestling gear, and it just seems like they gave her some pretty generic shit.
I will say this, though. She wasn't the worst wrestler on that match. The worst wrestler on that match actually was Summer Rae.
Really?
Eva Marie was actually better. Only because, watch that back. There's like a spot where like they do something to Summer Rae and she completely no-sells the ever-loving crap out of it. It was a backbreaker, I believe. Like, Alicia Fox does a backbreaker and then, like Summer Rae quickly just gets up and runs to the corner. Like, she doesn't sell it at all.
Right.
That was the worst.
I'll go back and I'll rewatch that in full. Like I said, I watched the highlights for these 2 matches. All right, so we had Brie Bella's team win, the Total Divas team won, and Nikki Bella came out, neck brace and all, celebration. And then we had the Usos versus the Dudleys. I like the ending of that match, if nothing else, the double table finish. What did you think?
I feel bad for the Usos because I am actually a really big fan of the Usos, but it just sucks seeing them get like trashed on by the crowd because they're idiots. And like, I don't know, they deserve more. They deserve a better feud against damn Dudley.
I mean, I like the Dudley boys and I like the Usos. I don't think they gave this feud enough time. They didn't put enough thought into it. Kovic, you've been watching this back and forth, but I know you don't watch SmackDown. So you've missed over half of this feud because a lot of this feud was continued in the past 3 weeks on SmackDown. So, like, what did you think about the feud overall?
Yeah, but I've seen enough of it, and I like the Usos and I like the Dudley boys. I mean, I don't think they work well together.
That may be the case. Maybe they don't have that chemistry, which is sad.
And what's really messed up is that no matter what they do with the Usos or whoever's said to be face or not, the crowd, the Dudley boys have been around forever. Yeah. The crowd is going to support them and the Usos. It's going to be a real cluster. It's not going to work out for one team to get the over in the crowd or whatever. And I think that was kind of their problem.
I see your point there because if you're old enough to have seen the Dudley boys when they wrestled or to know who they are and their reputation, you're probably going to cheer for them. So yeah. I get that. Any thoughts on this match, Ulysses?
The only thing I could really say about this is boring. And it sucks considering that you have one team that's known for like high flying and another team that's known for like sending people through tables. Boring should be the last word you should associate these two teams with.
True.
But that's the only word I could think of.
No, I did not see this match, but I'm looking at the timestamp, and it says it was a 5-minute match.
It sounds about right. It wasn't that long.
Like, how... If it was that boring in 5 minutes, that says a lot about how bad that duo or that battle is. If they made it that boring in just a 5-minute match...
I think this goes back to we might be right. It might just be pure chemistry. They just might not have clicked. But that's enough of the pre-show stuff. Renee looked fantastic, by the way. Just throwing that out. Also, this was the AT&T.
You're a lucky man.
Yeah. So this was the AT&T Stadium Center, whatever they're calling it, which Kovic informs
AT&T Center
in Dallas, right?
Yep.
Yeah, home of the Cowboys. Woo!
Kovic informs me that the Dallas Cowboys are still sucking. Is that accurate?
Hey.
What? I'm just repeating it. It's all right.
I will hear no Dallas Cowboy hate on this podcast.
Oh, God. Okay, fine. All right, but this is apparently a brand new stadium. It looks nice. I mean, I'll be honest. It looks fantastic. The giant TVs, other than stopping certain football players from kicking balls or something, look great for the show. I don't know what's all going on. Punting, right? Is that what we're doing? Is punting?
Yes. Don't do the sports thing.
I'm trying to get better. I am on a fantasy football league, and I need to improve. I need to improve. All right. So that aside, stadium looks fantastic. What did you think about the stage and the setup, Kovic?
The stage almost kind of looked like a carryover from last year to me. Like, they didn't change it up very much.
I saw what they were trying to do with the star, so it's like pointed, and you have like the star, but it just didn't. It looked boring.
Still WrestleMania 32.
Yeah, it's not star. Ulysses, what do you think about the stage?
I think we said this last year that it's just pretty much an alternate version of the WrestleMania 30 set. So right. I guess that's what they're gonna do. They're just gonna keep adapting that and like switch it accordingly. And can I just say how much I hated that look of like it was like an octopus on top of the ring with all those stupid shit on top of it. It looked awful. That looked stupid. It's not as dumb as like the gigantic cube thing that Randy Orton had.
Right.
But it's on that level of dumb.
Well, here's my problem: is they've already taken away the variation in the way the sets look for pay-per-views. And so WrestleMania was kind of like this final bastion of where we actually got to see them be creative with their sets and stuff. Like, let's go back a few years to WrestleMania New York, New Jersey that they did. They at least incorporated like New York landmarks and stuff like that, and it looked kind of cool, right? But the last like 3, like you said, have just been kind of very same old, kind of just variations of a very simple theme, and I don't know if I like that as much.
No.
Yeah, see, if you're gonna build a stage that symbolizes like Texas, you gotta find a way to build a gun, a cowboy hat, and fat people. That symbolizes Texas.
Should someone have like ridden a bull out onto the stage?
Oh yeah, the Longhorn thing. Yeah.
I love our friends in Texas, by the way.
We don't have any. That's fine. Okay. So let's start with the actual card. And once again, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe last year, the ladder match for the IC belt started the show last year, right?
Yes, it did.
Yep.
Yes. And once again, I can see why they did this, because it's got multiple people in it. It's very exciting. There's a lot going on. It's a ladder match. There were huge spots. It really set a good tone for the rest of the night. The question is if it kept it or not. But let's start with just looking at this match. For those who don't know, you had your defending champion, Kevin Owens, and you had 6 other people, which were Zack Ryder, Cody Rhodes as Stardust, Sami Zayn. You had Sin Cara, who was my one question of why was this person in this match. Then you had...
You only had that question on one of these guys?
You had The Miz and Ziggler. Hey, I did. Everybody else, I was like, okay. And I know... We could get into this, but really Sin Cara is the only one that I question that on.
Okay.
All right. So, Kovic, tell me what you thought about this match.
It definitely started the show with a bang. I mean, it was a highly entertaining match for me to watch, at least, especially for an opener. And similar to last year's opening ladder match, it had a good flow to it. It kept going, and there was no real downtime.
Right.
There was kind of an instant replay moment with, I can't call him Stardust, Cody Rhodes.
Right.
Similar to what happened to Ambrose last year.
Exactly. He was the sacrificial lamb this year to get put through a ladder.
So that it worked well. I wasn't sure who was going to win the match, and the way it ended, I'm sure you'll get into that.
That's a bummer.
That was kind of a shock to how that happened.
Ulysses and I both, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but Ulysses and I both pretty much said that we either saw Sami Zayn walking away with it, but most likely Kevin Owens keeping his belt. And now that I've had a little bit of a chance to read up on it, the original plans were for Owens to keep his belt, and many of the match outcomes were changed as late as like 4 p.m. to possibly even later, knowing how that creative team works, of the day of the show. So that's kind of crazy, but I was happy. I was happy.
I know you were happy.
I like Zack Ryder, all right? And I just want to say, I think everybody pulled their weight in this match. There was no one that I thought was very lame in the match. Everybody did their roles. I didn't see anyone that didn't participate or whatever in some of the big spots. And even though I'm not a huge Sin Cara fan, I thought this is one of the best matches he's ever had.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Ulysses, other than you having to watch Zack Ryder not only want to go home and bang Emma, but having the belt. What did you think of the match?
Alright. Sami Zayn, that was one hell of a welcome home party. Like, welcome to the big leagues party, because he put on a show. I love that little dive between the ladders.
Oh, yeah.
That was great.
And after his match with Nakamura, I'm like, how are you standing?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you guys mentioned Sin Cara, Stardust and Sacrifice. That was great. The little senton flip that Sin Cara did when he bounced off the ropes was great.
Right, yeah.
And let's not forget when Sami Zayn completely murdered Kevin Owens by doing the T-bone exploder suplex, and Owens' head hit legitimately on the ladder.
Oh yeah.
And I love Owens that he just stood there the rest of the match. He didn't even bother.
Yeah, we totally cringed seeing that. He did not move the rest of that match.
Oh man, reasons like that is why I love Kevin Owens, because he just sold that. He's the one guy that's apparently allowed to sell an injury, and that's why I love him. That's why I love him to death.
Speaking of injuries, real quick, I'm amazed that we haven't heard more about people being injured at this show. There were numerous moments throughout the whole pay-per-view where I'm like, well, that's an injury, and that's an injury. Or, he's going to the hospital tonight. But from everything I've read, there were no major injuries.
I hope not. Granted, there was a lot of big names that didn't show up last night on Raw, but that could just be a booking thing.
Right. Okay. All right. So overall, I would say this might have been my favorite match of the night.
No.
No? Okay. All right.
Just because of the outcome.
It probably was my favorite from an entertainment standpoint.
Yeah. Don't hate Ulysses. I know you're the hater of everything beautiful, but
Hey.
Zack Ryder's beard is beautiful.
Zack Ryder. Damn it, I can't talk smack about Ryder.
Yeah.
You're lucky, Ryder.
Yeah. All right, we'll get into that. So, AJ Styles versus Chris Jericho. That was the next matchup.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about this. This was their third match, I believe, and I rather enjoyed their previous two. I like the feud. I like the idea. But we kind of mentioned on the last podcast, too, that I thought this match needed something else, another stipulation or, something to make it a little more personal. It just needed something.
It needed a no-holds-barred or something to intensify it, because it was just another same old instant replay of the previous matches.
Oh, okay. Were you happy with the outcome?
I guess that's the route they had to go with, but...
Yeah. Well, I think for what happens after that, I think it was fine. I know some people were upset, but I don't know. Ulysses, what'd you think?
I don't know. I want to say I didn't like it, but that won't be entirely true. Only because I've liked every other match that those two have had, and this match really wasn't no different. They only added one new spot, and that's when he tried to go for the forearm, and he just did the code breaker onto it.
Yeah.
Right.
Other than that, everything else they did was exactly the same, like Kovic just said.
Yep.
And that's why I don't want to say I don't like it, because that would be a lie. I just want to say I'm disappointed more than anything, because I expected a lot more.
They're both solid wrestlers. So, I mean, it was a solid match in that standpoint, but it didn't bring anything new to the table to me to make it like, oh, this is a WrestleMania caliber event, like, match. It was just something I had already seen on Raw.
Okay.
It was almost like if Jericho went to Vince and said, hey, you know that favor I did for jobbing a Fandango? Let me beat someone. Let me beat someone good.
Yeah, it's so weird how people are starting, and I wouldn't even bring this up, but I saw it in multiple places. Like, people are starting these theories. It's like, oh, he only lost because the WWE doesn't want to put someone over, that they didn't create. And I'm just like, okay, I'm not saying that that's entirely, like, can't be true or whatever. But what if they had a good reason? Like, what if, they were just trying to do something unexpected? I don't know. I was fine with this match. Here's the problem. It slowed the pacing down a lot, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I believe we had the Divas Triple Threat next.
This is showing the New Day League of Nations match.
Okay. Can we all agree that the New Day has had one of the best WrestleMania entrances easy within the past 5 years? Easy.
The second greatest of.
No, I was going to say, I agree with that. That was an excellent intro.
Wait, Ulysses, you're saying it's the second greatest?
Second greatest entrance of all time.
All right, what's the first greatest entrance of all time?
Triple H Terminator.
No.
Come on now.
No.
Come on.
That entrance was bullshit.
No, it wasn't. It was a Terminator, and he was Triple H, and Arnie came out on the screen. Everything else you say after that is moot.
All right, anyway, so for those of you who may not have seen it, which, if nothing else, please, go find this. Go watch this. This is amazing. So, I actually will understand if people disagree, just because if you're not fans of the New Day, you're not going to like the entrance. And if you don't at least know a little something about anime, you might not be a fan of the entrance. But here's how it worked. So a giant box of Booty-O cereal. And it tips over, and as I believe it was Kovic said, they made good use of the trap doors there on the stage. And it was made to me even better by the fact that when the box tipped over, these giant donut-looking things that were supposed to be the Booty-Os themselves, like, come rolling out. Perfect. And then the New Day exits, and they're all wearing Saiyan armor. Specifically, I believe it was the Ginyu Force armor. I could be wrong about that. But
It was.
Oh, okay, cool. And Xavier Woods even had a tail. Like, he had a damn Saiyan monkey tail. His hair was spiked. He didn't color it, but it was spiked still, like I say. I mean, I guess it's appropriate if he's not Super Saiyan. But you get the point. You get the point. It was amazing. And I know Kofi's kind of a nerd too, so I'm sure he knew it. I don't know if Big E knew what was going on. I have no clue.
He just rolled with it.
I doubt he
anyway.
knows what's going on anytime.
But he looked like he was having fun. And he wins the picture of the night when he has this picture. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Hold on. Before I get ahead of myself, so we're going to spend so much time not talking about the match in this because the rest of it was great. So if you saw the picture that people took of the side of the Booty-O's box and you read the ingredients to the Booty-O's box, that was amazing that somebody put that much detail. Like, I don't know if both of you have seen it. I know you did, Ulysses, because you tweeted about it.
Yes.
But Kovic, have you seen the side of the Booty-O's box?
No, I did not.
Go find that picture, or I'll get it to you. And it's just somebody took a lot of time and effort to make that really funny, and I applaud that person.
Yeah, it says like your daily dose of like vitamin K, vitamin X, and vitamin B is like one of everything else was great.
For Xavier, Kofi, and Big E. Yeah, they like when it gets down into the ingredients. It's hilarious. Anyway, up, down, down is referenced on there, and I believe he actually got an up, down, down chant during the match. Yeah. Okay, so they were fighting the League of Nations, and I don't know, man. This is another pairing where we could break it down to, did the chemistry just not work?
No, the League of Nations just doesn't work.
They're not bad wrestlers, though. Did
No,
they
like
just
the
not have
group in
chemistry?
general, that I don't like that at all.
You don't like the idea of the
No.
League of Nations. All right. Okay. Well, Ulysses, what did you think of the match?
Rusev needs to fire whoever is making his clothes because I don't like what he wore. It looked dumb.
Oh, because he went to a more traditional tights kind of deal.
Yeah, I know he went to the old school Bruno where like the undies go up to your stomach.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
he still looks ridiculous, and he has like really long boots and knee pads now. And
Yeah.
I don't know. He's showing a lot of thigh, and I don't want to see a lot of his thigh. That's really my only thing against it is that he's showing way too much damn thigh.
I just think that's
Other
weird
than that-
because I think I told Kovic that this is the guy who used to wrestle barefoot.
Yeah, he was barefoot until not that long ago.
Yeah, because he broke his foot like a jagged.
Uh,
That and I forgot to mention, I don't know if you saw the spot, but Big E, I'm certain he gave himself some kind of a concussion when he tried to do the double spear.
oh,
And
yeah.
he landed, he spiked his head straight to the mat. Big E, I hope you're okay.
Yeah, because that's the one
God,
you see Barrett moving into position, and like I think I even told Kovic, I was like, okay, well this is about to happen, and yeah, it did look rough.
But then again, every
Yeah,
time, like I've noticed Big E when he flies through the ropes to the outside as well. Every time he does that, it seems like he smashes his face on the ground, or he's gonna break his neck one of those times jumping through the ropes. So
I don't know. This one had a little like Undertaker WrestleMania 25 flair to it.
Oh, when Sim Snuka was supposed to catch him and he didn't.
Yeah. Good call.
Oh man. All right. So the match itself is not that exciting unless there's just something else you guys want to bring up about it. But I was really questioning why the League of Nations won. I just didn't get it. I didn't know how it helped the program at all. I was hoping maybe they would explain it until they picked up the mic and they started their promo. And as soon as they said that there was no other 3-man team or whatever, you knew what was going to happen. You knew it. Yeah. And I heard the music hit, and I hear Kovic like popping over there on the other end of the mic because I know he's enjoying it. And I'll admit, when it popped, I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." They probably won't do anything. They'll probably just come out and do a couple things, like verbally, and then, New Day will get back up and take care of the heavy work, right? But Michaels comes out and he looks like he's there to wrestle. Like he was wearing his wrestling pants, and then Foley comes out, and Foley always looks like he's ready to wrestle because the man just wears sweatpants constantly, so it's hard to tell. But then Austin comes out, and who was the other person we thought was? We thought it might be The Rock.
I thought they might have tried to do the rock and sock thing or something again.
Yeah. But Austin comes out, and then I'll let you do. All right, Kovic. Since you enjoyed it so much, what did you like about this? What was good about this part?
Well, because to be honest, I did not enjoy that match. So that happening at the end of that match, it made me happy to be watching WrestleMania again. Because that match was kind of a downer to me. It was just kind of like other than the intro. So yeah, seeing Shawn Michaels, always been a big fan of his. Like I'm an Attitude Era guy. So seeing these guys come back is always a good mood lifter. I was kind of surprised to see Mick Foley walking as well as he was.
Yeah, well, I think you and I talked about this. Last time he was on the Stone Cold podcast, I think, and he said he was losing some weight and getting back in the gym and all that. So good for Mick. Good. I enjoyed seeing all three of these guys. Ulysses, what'd you think?
Okay, the match itself was boring. I didn't care for it. And then when I heard Shawn Michaels' music, I will admit, I jumped. That was great. And then when I heard Mick Foley's, I had a stroke because I love Mick Foley.
You do like Mick Foley, yeah.
And when I heard Steve Austin's, I was like, you're not The Rock, but I like you either way. And then I'll just say this right now, because right now is probably the best time for me to say it. God, I miss seeing Shawn Michaels do Sweet Chin music. And that when he did that, it just proves my point that Superkick should be banned from WWE unless your name is Shawn Michaels. Because Ziggler does an awful one. Kevin Owens does a good one, but I don't want to see him do it. I don't want to see the Usos. No Superkick.
You're just being weird. People need to be able to do super kicks. That's a good move.
No, unless your name is Shawn Michaels, who does the best super kick. I don't want to hear anything to the contrary.
Okay, all right.
No one should be allowed to do super kicks.
I guess you have a point. They haven't really let anyone else do the stunner. And,
exactly.
And the mandible claw.
You don't see no one do the mandible claw.
There was one guy back in like 2009 that was doing something really similar.
Wait, except for you had me watch Lucha Underground, and that one guy apparently is doing it now.
Yeah, that's right. There is a guy in Lucha Underground that does mandible claw.
That's
no,
like
the stunner.
3 WWE.
Oh, you're right. No, I'm so sorry. You're right. The Mac in Lucha Underground.
Because when I saw it, I shook my head.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Yeah.
That alternate comic book universe doesn't count.
Did we I love Lucha Underground. Did we talk about how well Rusev took that stunner? No, seriously.
The Rock school of stunner taking.
Yeah. Not as good as Xavier.
Right. Like I said, there are some people who take stunners really well. There's only one Vincent Kennedy McMahon as far as taking stunners goes, but no, that was pretty good. All right, so next up, I have to say is, unfortunately, guys, this was my disappointing match of the night, and not that it was bad. Not that it was bad. It's because I told multiple people. I lost track of how many people I said that this might be the match that saves this year's WrestleMania. Now, that might be a little overdramatic, but I really believe that, and I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you guys can word this a little bit better, but let's one. I enjoyed the build up for this. I thought they did a decent job of kind of an old school, let's just beat the shit out of each other feud. I like Ambrose. I'm not a big Lesnar fan, but this seems like the type of feud that should have been perfect for him. I liked some of the stuff Paul Heyman said. It seemed like it was coming together so well. Kovic, what happened?
I don't know, because like you said, the whole storyline going into it was hyped up extremely well, and I was excited to see this match, especially with the whole, Mick Foley and Terry Funk. They were doing a lot of things to build this match. And we were expecting to see a no-holds-barred street fight. I was expecting to see a little blood, actually like a match, a fight. And it turned out to be, I'm going to suplex you a few times, you're going to hit me a couple times, and then the bell's going to ring. It was just disappointing. Yeah. It was not a memorable match at all to me.
Ulysses?
Can I just say I instantly disliked this match the second Ambrose came out without his wagon.
Yeah.
Yep.
What was the point of the damn wagon then?
We mentioned that.
We mentioned that. Yeah, we were like, okay, so a street fight, I know that you can pull stuff from under the ring. People sometimes, I see why with that crowded of a stadium, they didn't go out into the stands or anything or into the back. That's fine. But usually somebody brings weapons to the ring. And with them using the wagon on Raw, it just seemed like the perfect setup.
It did.
Yeah, if you're not going to come out with the wagon, do the Raven thing, come out with a shopping cart full of weapons, or at worst, do the Tommy Dreamer thing, come out with a trash can filled with sticks.
Right, a trash can filled with kendo sticks.
Or at least come out carrying the bat and barbed wire. Something to make us think you're ready to fight. Not just walk to the ring.
Actually, I've heard that Terry Funk was in attendance. We know that Mick Foley was in attendance. I doubt you would have had to pay much to get Tommy Dreamer to come. I would have loved if before the match, those three men just all came out with the carts and trash cans and everything, and they were the ones who supplied the materials for the match. That would have been perfect.
Yeah. Not to mention, it's
just like how they did last year with Daniel Bryan and the dumb Intercontinental thing.
I was going to say, in most street fight matches that I've seen in the past, or hardcore style matches, there's normally trash can lids and stuff all around the ring or on the ramp as they go to the ring. There was nothing.
Yeah.
There was nothing there telling me this was going to be a no-holds-barred street fight. At all. So.
Yeah, it was a street fight. Nobody went through a table. Nobody even got suplex on, the little walkway to the ring. It was what was the point of, the whole match? It was worthless, essentially.
The only thing that was kind of cool was at the end where he did the moves to him on the stack of chairs. But I read, and I've seen this in multiple sources where apparently Ambrose had asked Vince and, the writers to allow him to do other things, a laundry list of just other things that they could have done. And they said no. Yeah, and they just told him no, straight out. Which really sucks. I hate that. This is WrestleMania. I thought this was when you guys pulled out all the stops,
Well, I mean, it's literally titled No Holds Barred, the match. Like, for a street fight. There was none of that.
Yeah.
I mean, chairs don't count to me in those kind of matches. Chairs can happen whenever.
The only no holds barred thing that really happened was the nut shot. And yes. I will say this. I wonder, and I was talking to Vicky about this, I wonder if he actually hurt his groin at some point.
I think he actually hit him. I think he actually did.
Yeah. Look, Lesnar doesn't sell that well. So for him to remember to grab his crotch like 3 times seems a little far-fetched to me. I don't know. Ulysses, did you have anything else about this match?
I knew Ambrose wasn't going to win, but
yeah,
for it to be such a rushed, crappy finish made the whole match worse. Because the ending seems super rushed.
It did. That's another thing why I felt like Lesnar might have actually been injured. And I agree with you. This match shouldn't have been based off the winner. We all thought that Lesnar was going to win. But the match itself, the journey, the cool spots was what really should have carried this match.
Yeah. And it all ended up being was kendo sticks and chairs.
Yeah.
Barbie never got used, that side of me.
Yeah, and I guess they just couldn't get it approved, and that, man, WWE, Jesus. Anyway, let's go to a good match. So, triple threat, women's title. For those of you who missed it, new belt was unveiled. No longer the Divas belts, the women's belt. I like it. Looks like the WWE main title, but with the white trim. Slightly different color scheme, but not much. I like it. You think it's okay?
I'm good with it.
I like the design of the belt. It looks great. The middle plaque is a little smaller, but either way, it's great.
Yeah, they designed the belt slightly smaller for to have it actually classified as the women's division again. I think that was a good move.
Right, and the fact that they are not going to be calling them, according to Stephanie McMahon, they're not going to be calling them divas anymore. They're actually going to be calling them superstars, which I think is good. It's a step in the right direction. Yep. All right, because we have some talented fucking women in this division right now, and 3 of them were in this match. So let's discuss this. First of all, the entrances. Becky, I felt kind of bad for because she had her same, typical normal entrance, but she looked good and it looked good. Give props on the going full force with the steampunk idea for the ring attire. And then Sasha comes out, but preceded by some random girl and Snoop Dogg. I don't know. Maybe she was the girl who did her theme song. I have no clue.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the singer.
Yeah, I'm sure. The audio just sounded weird at first. I couldn't tell. But, Snoop Dogg rapped over it. I thought that was really neat, especially if you know that that's her cousin and all that. And especially because he was there, for being inducted into the Hall of Fame. I don't know. It was good. And then you had all the pink stuff that, congrats to the crew who somehow got all that stuff off the ramp, while the match was going on without me noticing. And then
did you mean to stutter there? Because you're like, he's in the Hall of Fame.
I don't know. Why didn't I put a joke in there? That would have been perfect. All right, but anyway, so how many people on my timeline were like, how high do you think Snoop was when he came out there?
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, so Charlotte comes out. Normal entrance, except she has a robe that was apparently made from one of her father's actual robes, which, that's cool. It's WrestleMania. I totally get into that, buy it. And she looked good. She looked really good. I don't know if she went to the tanning bed earlier that day or whatever, but she was looking good. And, these 3, I think, in my opinion, put on the second best match of the night. But we'll start with you, Ulysses, since I know you have a lot to say about the ladies. Go on.
All right. Can I just say, I did, in fact, shed a tear when I saw Sasha Banks' entrance because her entrance, I immediately knew, when she came out, I immediately knew that's Eddie Guerrero's clothes. I know, I've seen that I've seen that match millions of times, so I instantly knew. And I do know her history of like she loves Eddie Guerrero and all that.
Right,
so
right.
it hit me real hard because I was like, that's beautiful. I love that so damn much. Charlotte's entrance was cool. I still don't like that they keep damn it. They keep saying that they keep making her look like Flair Jr. and I hate that. She needs to just be Charlotte.
Yep.
And
Agreed.
that keeps bugging me. Like, it will always bug me, and I know I got a lot of people hating me for that, but screw you. I'm no sheep. Second, I agree with you. It sucks that Becky got like the average entrance, even though she's kind of like the average one compared to two. Let's be honest here. But the match itself was great.
Yeah, and I thought all three women in this case really pulled their weight in this.
There were a lot of good moments. Solid wrestling for the most part, too.
It sucks that the one really big spot was when Sasha overhopped the two of them.
Right,
but who cares? Sasha, there is no such thing as a botch with her. You fight me in the street.
That was a pretty bad botch, though, but they did try to clean it up pretty quickly. So
yeah,
they did.
I'll be honest. I mean, like, I noticed it, but like, maybe it's just me.
They had the right camera angle for that.
Right. It didn't. It didn't bother me as much as a lot of botches do. I'll put it that way.
That, and can I just say, this is gonna come out wrong, but can I just say it was great to see Becky Lynch get her revenge on Ric Flair. That was the best.
Yeah.
I don't know if story-wise that's what they try to say, but that's how I felt.
Right, and especially since they've cut out off of the network the part where he kisses her at the Royal Rumble. So,
but
that was great.
Yeah, we all saw. We knew it happened.
Yeah.
All right, Kovic. Any other thoughts on this match?
No, it was a very solid match. I mean, to be honest, with the card they had for WrestleMania, to have, like you said, I have to agree, it was probably my second favorite match of the night. That's kind of mind-boggling to me. With all the talent they have, I end up saying that the Divas match was the second best for me at WrestleMania.
Match.
Or, sorry. It still says it was for the Divas Championship. And
I know.
It'll take time to get over it.
I know.
It's all semantics anyway. Who cares?
Yeah. But I agree, and Ulysses and I both were really thinking that Sasha had this. We thought this was her night. And, it wasn't, and that's fine, because I thought the match was good enough, and I thought Charlotte did well enough that it proved that she kind of deserves it, and Sasha's time will come.
Yeah.
And thank you, Ulysses.
Her coronation's going to be great.
Thank you, Ulysses, for reminding me about the Eddie Guerrero gear. I actually forgot about that. But overall, this was really good. Now, it was about this time where I realized that the show was running a little bit long. So I thought, cool, we're going to have a really short segment with The Rock, and then we're going to go into, the big match, the big matches. But first, I forgot, we had to do Shane versus Undertaker.
Yep.
So I don't have a lot to say about this match. And the reason why I think is because it didn't do anything I wasn't expecting. And what happens on Monday Night Raw pretty much makes the match useless anyway. We're not going to get into that. The only thing I really have to say about this is I was right and Ulysses was wrong. And I just want everybody to take a moment and let that sink in. Ulysses said that Shane would not jump from the top of the cage, and I said no. That motherfucker is crazy enough and doesn't care about his body enough that he'll do it, which is insane because part of his entrance was to parade his 3 children out there.
Yes. He wanted them all to see it.
Okay, whatever. Ulysses, tell me about this match.
It was an awful match. It was a boring match. It was not a good match. I don't care what anyone tells me. One spot does not make a good match. It was not good to watch at all, from all sense. I've gotten sick and tired of The Undertaker ever since, even when he wrestled CM Punk, I didn't want him to do that. So I thought he should have Like, he should have retired a long time ago. The aura of The Undertaker does not affect me in the slightest anymore. Come at me, Smarks. Fuck you all. And then what?
I said you're so angry.
Yeah, well, I'm angry because of what you said earlier. Damn, Shane cost me my favorite thing to do every Monday night.
For those who didn't listen to the last podcast, Ulysses cannot speak ill of Zack Ryder or R-Truth for a year because of this.
It's not gonna be a good year for me. Anyway, it was a very slow plotting match.
Are you sure that losing that isn't what made you dislike this match?
It was a multiplier. It was a multiplier. If that wouldn't have happened, the match would have been like a C minus. In my head right now, it's like a straight fail. Just because it was boring, it was plotting. I like how Shane McMahon goes into a sport with fake punches, and his fake punches look the fakest of them all. It's like ridiculous. And it was hilarious to see, like, little by little throughout the match, The Undertaker's tan rub off on Shane's shirt. That was hilarious.
That was funny. Because there was at one point, I think I asked Kovic, I was like, is he bleeding? And he was like, no.
That, and let's be honest here, that spot was stupid. Not in the sense of, like, for the fans, but for Shane. That man should have not done that spot. I love you, Shane, but good God.
When Undertaker rolled out of the way, I seriously was like, oh God, no. Because at least if Undertaker had been there, I would have felt like he was safer. And I know logistically that's not true, right? But I would have felt like he was safer. And there were so many people on Twitter saying like, oh God, we just watched someone try to kill themselves. You know, like, these guys are both in their, you know, Taker just turned like 51, I think. And Shane's not much younger than that. So, you know, anyway, I don't know. Kovic, since Ulysses is slightly biased because he can no longer speak ill of Zack Ryder and R-Truth, what did you think of the match?
All right. So, The Undertaker, I've been a lifelong fan of The Undertaker, all right? But I'd say over the last 5 years or so, if not a little longer than that, I thought The Undertaker probably should put the wrestling stuff behind him, only because he looks very lethargic. He's very slow. He's not the Undertaker of old anymore. It's almost like he's just there to be the worker. And it's not fun anymore to see him in matches. Now, Shane came out energetic, like ridiculously energetic.
Yeah.
But the couple things they tried to do in the match with the whole coast to coast and having Shane climb up the side or whatever and jump off and fail miserably by crashing through a table, they tried to bring some moments to it to make it more memorable, but it just isn't. It just didn't have to happen. It's one of those matches that they could have left off the card and just done the storyline a different way. Like, I don't understand why they pushed this match so hard, and it just ended with meh, like, attitude. Like, I didn't really care that happened. And I think I told you I was not a fan of seeing Shane McMahon jump off.
Yeah. And I think this match happened more because, we don't have this great storyline. But for a while now, over a year, they've been trying to get Shane to come back and do something. And so when it worked out that he could come back for WrestleMania, I don't know who, but somebody, I guess, was like, wouldn't it be cool to see him go up against The Undertaker? And everybody in that room should have went, no, that's good. But whatever. And you know, I popped more for the coast to coast, because I love that move, than I did for him actually jumping off the cage. I popped mostly for him jumping off the cage because I got to wave it in Ulysses' face. But I will say, Shane looked good in the beginning of the match, but the longer the match went on, I don't know if they were both really tired. You know, I'm sure they were to a degree.
Yeah,
but they both started to kind of slip up and just look sloppy.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I was glad to see it end. I kind of, for my mind, because the stairs were still in the ring at the end of the match, for some reason, I had it in my head that The Undertaker would tombstone Shane on the stairs. To at least give us some kind of, like, big explosive finish, instead of just a standard finish. But it didn't happen that way. I don't know. I guess there was also rumors about airbags being under that table, which it's a possibility, I guess. I don't know if they're true or not.
Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't surprise me. All right.
Can I say how much it's such bullshit that Shane kicked out of the chokeslam and the last riot?
Mm-hmm.
That's garbage to me. I'm sorry.
It is.
Like, I get it, but it's crap. It's straight garbage.
If we're going off of the WWE 2K games and we're looking at ratings of wrestlers as our guidepost for who should be able to beat who and stuff like that, I guess it makes sense more why they used to rank Shane so high, but you've got to also sell me on the fact that this guy should be able to beat The Undertaker. And I never thought that. Like, even those cool MMA videos that Shane was putting out and stuff like that, I was like, okay, but this is The Undertaker. This is the guy that you have spent years, more years than you spend on almost any other wrestler, building his legacy. And the fact that in one night out of every year, he is just on top of his game.
Yeah.
And you let this motherfucker beat him? No. I just, you know, I knew, I was pretty sure that it had to end with Undertaker winning. And also, am I the only one that was shocked that there was no run-in, no Vince McMahon interference, nothing?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a bit disappointing.
I was hoping that stupid statue trophy thing was going to be involved because they put it on the damn television so much.
I mean, I'm telling you, that's not what happened. What happened is Vince is like, how much did we pay for that thing? Oh, it's going on every episode. But no, I agree. Of every match out of this entire card that would have warranted interference, this was the one, and they just didn't decide that. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. So, props to you, Shane, for coming back and busting your ass and trying, but I don't think it worked. And props to The Undertaker for being such a company man and, you know, doing what he's doing. But like you said, might be time to hang it up.
Kind of go take Old Yeller to the back of the barn.
Oh, that sounds so much worse. All right, so next we had a battle royal.
A very short battle royal.
Wait, it was 20-man this year, right? Yeah. 20-man Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And it wasn't very short because Kovic went to go get something to drink and he missed all the special entrances. Because they only showed like 5 entrances. But the big surprising one for me was Tatanka.
Yep.
For Ulysses was probably DDP. But who the fuck knew Shaq was even still alive? I didn't.
It's probably part of that stupid new Shaq Fu 2.
Oh,
Shaq Fu 2 is the greatest. Don't. No, I will have no Shaq Fu 2 bashing.
Dude, why didn't I see this? Of course it is. Oh, he just needs to put a wrestler. So John Cena for Shaq Fu 2? Is that what I'm thinking?
Oh, that'd be great.
That's amazing. All right. So Shaq and Big Show start off, and they have their confrontation, which I thought that was cool just because if you've been watching for a while, there was an episode of Monday Night Raw where Shaq was the special guest host, and he had a confrontation with Big Show. So this is like a really small callback for anyone who happens to actually remember that, right?
A decade plus ago. That was a long time ago.
Was it? It can't be that long. It was. I don't know.
It was when Jericho was a thing, so that was a.
Oh, I guess you're right. Maybe not a decade, but pretty close. Anyway, point is. So, I have very little to talk about with this, except for the winner, who this just makes me hate Steve even more, because Baron Corbin won, and I'm so happy that they put an NXT guy in there because they put one in last year. I believe it was
Hideo Itami.
Yeah, it was a Tommy. And I thought it was cool that they're kind of continuing with that. I would have never expected the NXT guy to win, especially not Baron Corbin.
No.
Whatever. Ulysses, tell me about this match.
I'm happy that we were both wrong because we both predicted that they might give it to an old guy. I'm happy we were wrong about that. I was irritated at the sight that the Wyatts weren't involved. Like, why the hell not?
But we found out after why.
Yeah.
Do even worse. Anyway, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Second of all, why was Curtis Axel wearing shorts and weird, like, Roman Reigns-like boots?
Yeah, like cut-off 90s shorts.
That disturbed me more than anything. That was like, I couldn't stop watching. Like, why the shorts? Like, has he officially just given up on his job? He's like, I'm in a social outcast. Nothing else is gonna happen to me. Who cares? I can't.
Hey,
like,
they did really well in that battle royal. If you notice, they were working together as a team. They lasted a while.
Can I just say it was hilarious to see Bo Dallas do the bow train and then turn around? That was funny.
Right, yeah. All right, Kovic, did you have any thoughts about this battle royal?
It was alright, I guess, from what I saw of it. But there was one name that I was kind of hoping would be involved in it since I know he was around, and that was Vader.
Oh, because he was there for the Hall of Fame. Right.
I was kind of hoping. But
yeah, and he still wrestles. Like, I know he was wrestling in 2015, and I'm pretty sure he's still wrestling in 2016. But no, you're right. That would have been a fun. And I Tatanka, man, shit.
Yeah, that
Tatanka.
was awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
But all right,
He needs to stop eating the donuts.
oh, you know how old that guy is. Don't. Better shape than
Look, if
Bushwick
Undertaker could wrestle and have like semi-looking boobies, he could rock the same thing. There's no reason why he should be wrestling in a B cup.
You're being sexist and judging men based off their pecs.
Better than I do with the women.
You're just saying that because your avatar is Big E, and you judge all men's pecs now off of Big E's.
Because none of them are too big.
Oh god. Anyway, so that ended. Baron Corbin, he did a thing. Good job, Baron Corbin. I hope I start liking you more. And
E in the lower mid card.
yeah, see you in the mid card. But so this led to what we knew was coming all night, but what I never thought would be this involved and take quite this fucking long. And that is the section with The Rock. He came out. I thought he had a t-shirt gun at first, but it turned out to be a fucking flamethrower for some reason.
That was freshly painted.
Yeah, and then there was the ROCK spelling out his name, and he lit that on fire, and I was like, okay, I guess you deserve a WrestleMania entrance. Not really, actually. If you're just the fucking host, I don't give a fuck, right? But I like The Rock. I like Austin a little bit better, but whatever. Let's get down to it, though. So, Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, that's the one good thing about them being in Dallas, I guess. And then he comes down to the ring. He does his spiel that, The Rock is good on the mic. He seemed really happy, amped up. He didn't pull a Hogan and say they were in the wrong fucking arena or anything, so nothing really worth mentioning. And then music hits. Wyatt family comes out. Okay. For a split second, I was like, cool. They're going to come out. Rock can help put Bray over. We're good. But then I remembered, this is The Rock. And for either because of The Rock or because of how WWE perceives it, which honestly, sometimes it's WWE. It's not the performer. They didn't get put over. Rowan got beat in 6 seconds, 8 seconds, something really ridiculous.
But we should point out how good the entrance was, though, because that was probably the highlight of that whole segment. Was the Wyatt
how many
entrance.
Lights were in?
Yeah, the 100,000 in the arena kind of thing. That was really cool.
That was really neat.
That's about it.
I found that article I was telling you about where it actually said the numbers were closer to 94,000 because WWE flubbed their numbers like they do every year. And so the actual AT&T arena staff or whatever, their count was like 94 point something. Yeah. So, but anyway, whatever. Point is, I don't know. Ulysses, was this pointless?
It was absolutely incredibly pointless. You could have, God damn it, you could have done anything else. Anything else. And I would have been okay with it.
6 second match, and it took forever. Jesus. And Rowan's not a horrible wrestler. You could have gone longer than 6 seconds. And why were you and Chris happy that John Cena was back?
Because I genuinely miss John Cena. I genuinely do.
Do you genuinely miss John Cena, or do you just miss the stability that he brought to the main event and upper mid-card?
I think we'll get into that a little more with the last match of the night, because we had a little talk about how smart we think the WWE creative is, if they're just outsmarting us because of my distaste for a certain wrestler is actually making me miss John Cena.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
if you remember who was my superstar of the year last year,
It was John
Cena.
Cena. It was John Cena. I remember that. All right.
So and then back to the whole Rock Wyatt bullcrap. It was so bad. Everything was bad. It was long. It was pointless. You bury the Wyatts. The Wyatts are just losers. You give me more reason not to give a slight of a fuck about the damn Wyatts. The Rock did his best Tony Montana impression and came out on like 12 grams of cocaine or whatever it was.
All right,
The dude was way too, God, I love you, Rock, but just stop. Stay away, please.
Kovic, with having the segment with Mick Foley, Austin, and Shawn Michaels earlier, did we need any of this shit with The Rock?
Well, to be perfectly honest, I'm not a huge Rock fan. Never really have been.
Okay.
And I think he's been put over a lot in the sense of him being more forefront than any of the other, like, Attitude Era wrestlers. And it's kind of irritating me at this point. But I guess The Rock is the one that's more available, which is crazy to think with his whole movie thing.
Yeah.
Because I'd much rather see Mick Foley on a monthly basis or him be a center. Or Stone Cold, which I guess he's getting more notoriety now with the podcast stuff. But The Rock, it's too much Rock. It's too much.
Well, Mick Foley has a new show coming out with his daughter, so you'll be able to see him a lot more. And I'll agree that, like, and Noel. But I will agree that Rock and Austin are good examples of people who get put over younger talent so much in long after they've retired. And that doesn't really need to happen. But anyway, all right. So we're past this.
No, hold on. I got one more important thing to say.
Okay.
All right. Braun Strowman has been pushed. It's obvious, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
And the one thing they kept like emphasizing is that he rarely doesn't get put on his back. Like every time they throw him off the ring, he lands on his feet.
Right.
And The Rock puts him down like that.
Yes.
Pointless. It's stupid. That angered me more than anything.
However, last week there was a thing released that said Vince McMahon was no longer high up on Braun Strowman. So anything that they were building him with probably just got left to the wayside.
Yeah,
that's probably why he got put on his back. Yeah. That's probably why.
Yeah, but you could have given that to someone else. You could have given that to Corbin or something. Give that to Apollo Crews. Not to
I
Rock.
agree. Look, man, we agree that Vince's ideas of how to properly book certain things is just out the window now. I love Vince McMahon. He has built a lot of my childhood and a lot of, just stuff that I really like. And I'm not going to say he's out of touch because I don't think he's out of touch. I think he was always a guy who thought that his opinion was more valuable than anyone else's in the room. The thing is that back in the Attitude Era and in some of those other times, he had a lot more people that he had to rely on them because they were, the company was in threat, right? There was a legit threat that they weren't number one. But now that he doesn't have to worry about stuff like that as much, he's a lot more, no, it's my way or the highway. And hopefully, all due respect to Vince, but hopefully when Triple H takes over, he doesn't adopt that.
Well, I just miss the days where they used to push the limits instead of this being, I'm content with the way it is. We'll just keep shoveling crap on crap. It's like, no, push limits again. Make me excited to tune in. The same old stuff is just, it's old. It's the reason why I stopped wrestling, or stopped watching wrestling, I should say, for so long.
Kovic, I never knew.
Yeah, because it got boring. I mean, it just got stale. And with that said, there are some things with this new age that's exciting, but some of the stuff just needs to go away and not come back.
All right, so let's talk about the main event, because I think Ulysses and I pointed this out in the podcast. We didn't think this should be the actual last show of the evening. I know I spoke about that with a couple other people. This should be the actual last match of the show because we pretty much knew who was going to win. Now, I will say, and this is just me, I am not a Roman Reigns hater, but I'm not a big fan, and I think he needs more time, and I think he needs more something. I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out still. However, so many fans are so negative and hate on Roman Reigns, and not saying that they don't have good reason. Kovic has already expressed that he doesn't like Roman Reigns. But it actually made me look forward to the match less because I knew that no one wanted this man to win. Or at least not enough people that had any sort of voice.
I should clarify some things about Reigns and my thoughts.
But we all knew he was going to win. Please, go ahead. Clarify away.
All right. I do not like Roman Reigns because of the push he got way too early in his career. He does not perform well enough in the ring for me to think he's main event material for championships. Nor does he cut promos well. He still doesn't cut promos well. So my problem with Roman Reigns is not his in-ring ability. It's more that he's been pushed to the top way too early. He needed a couple more years of going through the mid-card, of working his way to get more of a following than just saying, hey, I'm Roman Reigns, I'm going to jump to the top because Triple H and them want me to. That's my big problem with Roman Reigns. To me, Ambrose and Seth Rollins, they were the better two in that trio that should have been pushed quicker. I know Rollins kind of was, and he got hurt and all that. But the Reigns thing,
baby.
Yeah, that's my problem with Reigns, is that he was pushed way, way too fast. Just more time was needed for that character and for his abilities to develop.
Ulysses, tell me what you thought going into this match.
I didn't care.
At all.
No, I didn't care.
Do you hate Roman Reigns, or do you just not find him that interesting?
There's
some people out there who legit don't like Roman Reigns and think he shouldn't be in the program at all. But I just think he needs more time. But please, go ahead.
I like Roman Reigns. I'm a fan of Roman Reigns. I see him in the same light as John Cena, only because I've said this about John Cena in the past, which is why I liked him so much last year, why I gave him the Superstar of the Year. If you put him in a ring with good guys, like when he wrestled Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, etc., he puts on a damn good match. I think if you give him the right guy, he could put on a good match. Like when he wrestled Rollins, it wasn't too bad. When he wrestled Daniel Bryan, it was really good. When he had that Fatal 4-Way with Ambrose, Rollins, and I think Orton, that was really good too. So I'm a fan of him. I think his promo skills need a lot of work. Like, I don't necessarily believe he should be like the silent badass, because I think you need to talk in order to get over now in this day and age. So I'm okay with him talking. I'm okay with him working the kinks out. I'm just not a fan of how they booked the storyline. This storyline is the thing that didn't make me care. Triple H, the way Triple H came off, the way Stephanie came off, hell, even the way Roman came off. To me, nothing was at stake. The belt didn't even seem that important. This match seemed more like they wanted to fight each other more than to win the belt, and that's what bugged me. That's what bugged me the most about this match.
Well, it should have felt that way a little bit, because this was personal. You know, this thing starts months ago when Roman first hit Triple H and he speared him, and then, you know, they started this months ago. And the problem was that when Triple H came back at the Royal Rumble and he won the belt, it was really a slap in the face to Roman. It wasn't because he wanted the belt and it was, you know, it felt more like it made the belt feel much smaller in their overall feud. And so I get what you're saying, but I have to wonder if maybe this could have been booked better, and would it have been better if the booking was different, or was this just kind of doomed to begin with?
I think it was doomed, and it's probably because some of the star talent has been out with injury, so they tried to make something happen, and it just failed to me.
Well, yes, star talent being out definitely is what got Roman to, I mean, you know, if you had some of these other talents here, you could say, okay, well, we have other options. But I think with some of these stars being out, they were like, well, we've only got a couple of options now, and we've been pushing and working on Roman Reigns, so let's pull the trigger on that.
There was just two highlights for that whole match for me, and it wasn't even part of the match necessarily. And both involved Stephanie. That was what I took away from that match.
Yeah. I was about to say, can we discuss how Stephanie was the best athlete in the match?
Stephanie's entrance, Stephanie's look, and
she was either the beginning. Stephanie was either Rita Repulsa Or Tina Turner from
Yeah, she was
Thunderdome.
Tina Turner
Tina
from
Turner,
Thunderdome.
yeah.
She was totally from
It was
Thunderdome.
great. It was great.
I did like Triple H's entrance with all the guys with the belts and the masks. It looked cool.
Yeah.
Somebody in
Reminded
one
me
of
of
wrestling.
Pink Floyd.
Yeah. Somebody in one of the wrestling groups I'm a part of said, are those all the guys that Triple H has buried in the past?
That's a good one.
Anyway, so the entrance was good. They worked. Triple H looked like he was actually really trying to make Roman look good, or at least trying to make the match good. I don't know. It was just so messy. And to be honest, I lost interest so quick. Like, I try my damnedest because I like to talk about wrestling and because I like to, critically think about wrestling to a degree. I try my damnedest to pay attention as much as possible. But I just really was having trouble actually caring in this match. Now, when Stephanie took that spear, I was all over that because that was great.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, and it was cool, I guess, that they incorporated the sledgehammer.
Well, they
Well,
tried
is there-
to.
Yeah, is there anything else positive you can think about from this match, Ulysses?
Stephanie is banging.
Kovic?
I second the motion.
All right, well, if that's all
pretty
we're
much
going to get out of it.
That's literally what we took away from that match was what Stephanie looked like and Stephanie's spear, because everything else was just pointless filler material.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's dumb because apparently WWE, you can't bleed, but men could sure spear the hell out of a woman. It's dumb.
Yeah.
The logic makes no sense.
I would actually like to point out, I think this is funny because not long ago, Vince McMahon actually said that without very good reason, he didn't want any male superstars hitting physically doing anything to female superstars. So I guess Stephanie either pulled that string or Triple H convinced Vince it was good. I don't know. It made it one of the more memorable parts of the night.
How crazy it sounds to me is that the creative group, which is basically Triple H and Stephanie and whatnot, they have been trying for months to get the crowd to cheer Roman Reigns. And we should bring up the fact that they edited boos.
Oh, yeah. How did we forget that?
Oh, God, yeah. That was
Because-
bad.
That was
At the
horrible.
entrance, you heard boo, and that was it. For
And
like
it-
2
it
minutes, the
muted.
crowd went away. It's like,
there
that
was
was
a
bullshit.
guy. There was a guy on Raw, and he was near the ring, and he had a sign that said, "We pay to watch this. Don't mute us." And I was like, "That's really
But that happened.
But I agree. I thought my network was just messing up at first. I was like, "Oh, something's wrong with the network." And then Kovic mentioned it, and then I saw other people talking about it. I was like, "Oh, so no, they just straight up muted that shit." That's bullshit, WWE. By the way, I doubt any of you are listening to this, but that's bullshit.
But what I was getting at was simply, like, they obviously don't want men spearing women, that kind of stuff, to happen very much unless, like you said, good reason. And in my stupid mind, I'm thinking, man, they are really trying everything to make the crowd cheer Roman Reigns. How about we have him spear Stephanie? Maybe that's the next step to make the crowd like the guy. It's like, that's not going to help. It made a memorable moment, but that was a very stupid decision if they think that's another push to try to get Reigns more cheers.
Can we also talk about how he had basically the same entrance from last year? It's just last year he did it in the ring. In the ring, the fireworks exploded, and this year he did it on the star. I was like, you guys could get a little more creative with that? Is there nothing else that he can do?
Nope.
I do love the fact that he's no longer coming in through the crowd.
That would have been really difficult at WrestleMania, but you want to talk
He
about
did
people
it-
having long...
He did it last year.
Oh, you're right. I think he did.
That was
Sorry.
a pretty big arena, too.
Yeah. I take that back. All right. So overall, I personally, WrestleMania for me was really good until the Shane Undertaker match. And then after that, I lost interest. But I don't know. We'll start with Kovic. What did you think overall?
Overall, first half, solid enough to make me want to watch it again, especially the ladder match and the Divas match. Second half, when you get to the whole Undertaker, Rock, and Triple H crap, the stuff that should have really made me want to watch to the end of a WrestleMania. The main event stuff was the crap stuff of this event. That's not how it should ever be. I should be watching the first half of a pay-per-view getting excited and hyped up to see the end, the main event stuff. And it was the other way around. It was pathetic. So, it's a decent enough WrestleMania, but I'd have to say I probably liked last year's more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree with that. Ulysses, what do you think overall?
I'm going to give this WrestleMania the worst insult anyone could give it.
Okay.
This WrestleMania is equivalent to early 2000s WCW pay-per-view.
Oh, I thought you were going to go with December to Dismember. You went to the WCW route. Wow.
Yes.
Is this Starrcade 2000 level?
I don't recall that, but I'm pretty sure in Starrcade 2000 there was at least one good match, one or two decent moments, and the rest was below average.
If I remember correctly, that's the one with Jeff Jarrett versus Sting where they had the multiple Stings run out.
Might have been, I can't remember.
Okay. So it might not be that bad, but it was like there was one good match, one or two decent moments. Everything else was below average to crap level. It gets an average score of like D for me.
I just want you to know, Ulysses, that there is probably some poor WWE creative soul. He's going to find this podcast just at random. He's going to listen thinking, all right, maybe these guys really liked the parts I helped with. And he's going to hear you compare it to WCW, and he's going to be very sad. And I hope you feel good about that.
I feel great.
I'm good.
That's what you get for booking Zack Ryder as a goddamn champion.
Wait, you can't talk poorly of Zack Ryder, sir.
I talk bad about the IC title, not him. There's difference.
Ulysses is like, I'm insulting creative, not Ryder himself.
Exactly.
All right. So I'm interested to see where some of these plots go forward, but overall, I agree. Just didn't do it for me. But there's always next year. That's a good thing about WrestleMania, I guess. Yeah. But we have Extreme Rules next. We have some stuff developing, and yeah. All right. So if somebody wants to complain to you, Ulysses, about you comparing it to 2000's WCW, where can they find you on the Twitters?
Find me at Twitter at we_cho_.
All right. And Kovic, if people want to talk to you, where can they find you?
Just search the name Kovic Plays with a Z, one word, and you'll find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
All right. Go check out this man's Rocket League stuff. He's good at the Rocket Leagues. Okay. All right. This has been our WrestleMania 32 star, whatever you want to call it, wrap up. And you guys have a good night.